How easy is it to get hooked on pain pills? Oxycodone, hydrocodone, Norcos, fucking Percocets, Vicodin. How easy is it to get hooked on these? It's actually extremely easy, and people don't even realize through their doctor how easily they can get hooked onto an opiate. Because what ends up happening is, yes, opiates are great, and there is a need for these because, let's face it, if you have just hurt yourself tremendously bad, nobody wants to be in pain. Nobody deserves to be in pain. But the problem is that this actually bonds to your pain receptors in your brain. And if you take this too long, all of a sudden your brain truly accepts this. You start to build up a little bit of a tolerance for it. And what people don't realize of how this addiction happens through prescription is you've taken 60 pills as directed. Through that time of 60 pills, you have now built up a tolerance to it. And by the end of it, you're probably popping them a little bit more than what you should. You're probably going to run out a little bit early, possibly. The next thing that you know is all of a sudden now you don't have these pills, your body starts to go through withdrawals. And you sometimes mistake these withdrawals for actually being drug withdrawals, and you think that the pain is coming back. You feel the back pain all of a sudden. You feel pain that you've never felt before. You're starting to sweat. You're not feeling good. You don't understand that you're actually going through withdrawals. So what do? You start hitting back up your doctor and say, hey, it hasn't healed right. It's still hurting. Doctors are going to try and believe you. And next thing you know, they prescribe you more medicine and then prescribe you more pills. And now all of a sudden you're taking those pills. And next thing you know, without your realization, you have now become addicted and you become hooked. And it wasn't necessarily by, I want to try these to get high. It was through pain management in the very beginning. But because of how you built up a tolerance to it, how your brain has accepted it, and not understanding that you're actually going through withdrawals is what ends up hooking people into the addiction of opiates when it's not something that they even planned on. There are a lot of opiates addicts out there. There's even heroin addicts out there that never in their wildest dreams were they planning on becoming an addict. They had no desire to become an addict. They weren't taking these for recreational purposes. They were taking them for pain management purposes. And that is the scary part about opiates. It's the scary part about understanding what withdrawals are on these. I think one of the biggest things that can happen is doctors explaining to patients that, hey, I'm going to prescribe you this med, but after 30 days, you're probably going to go through some withdrawals. And here's what they are. Because in the beginning, those withdrawals aren't nearly what they are once you have a history with this, that you built up a bigger tolerance, that you're taking more of these. That withdrawal escalates on how bad it becomes. So I think one of the important things is to educate patients who are on these of like, hey, this is what to expect for the next week once we get you off of these, because the pain does come back, but it comes back in a different form. It's not necessarily where the pain was that you were managing before. It's all over your entire body all of a sudden, but that is withdrawals. Trust me, it's a challenge. It's a fight. I know people that have lost their lives left and right to opiate withdrawals, heroin, just because they've gotten hooked on this, it becomes this constant cycle of relapse. Next thing you know, fentanyl. Next thing they just OD on heroin, whatever it might be. If you are fighting through this, man, get support, get help. Let everybody know that you're an addict. If you take Suboxone, it takes Suboxone. Who cares, man? Getting sober and not getting into the position where you die is what matters, because you matter. You're loved, man. So keep fighting forward. And for the ones that are fighting through this right now, I am proud of you. Don't give up, man. Keep pushing forward because it will get better. I promise you that.